Don't do that to me, guys. Don't be like how your girlfriend is. She does something about her hair, changes it up, and you don't say. You don't have girlfriends, so you can't relate, can you? What's going on with ya, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day is going virtuoso. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Speaking of such, championship season is here, and I know you trying to wear the belt at the end of the day, whether it is the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship or if it's all the way down to just dominating your friends every weekend. Today I'm going to be going ahead and providing you a staples tier list, going over some of the most played Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards for a variety of decks, and going and telling you what are the best of the best, the cream de la crop, or the oh no, what are you doing, baby? So let's go ahead and jump on into this tier list. As you can see, I have 5 different categories. I have a cut above the rest. These are the staple cards that are, they're just good. If you're not playing them, you're definitely not cutting above the rest. These are the staple cards you should consider above all else. Next is sauce staple cards. These cards are really good, but not necessarily mandatory for you to be able to play optimal Yu-Gi-Oh! From there is just really good. These are just baseline standard staple cards. If you're not seeing them or if you don't play them, they won't be missed, but they are still secretly decent Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. After that is the could be better category, and it's pretty self-explanatory. These aren't necessarily bad staples right now, but they probably require a certain situation or just aren't good right now. And then, of course, everybody's favorite, I like to call it es no bueno. Oh no, what are you doing, baby? It is the tier where if you are playing these particular cards, well, you might as well just give your opponent the free dub. Now, of course, I want you to post down below in the comment section what are some staple cards that I missed, or if you disagree with a placing of a particular staple card and why. Of course, for the people that don't know exactly what a staple Yu-Gi-Oh! Card is, allow me to back up before I jump on into this. A staple Yu-Gi-Oh! Card is a card that is typically played in the main board, and these are cards that are very good, fairly generic, and most decks can play to their advantage. So jumping on in, let's start talking about Blizzard. This card is actually really low-key, low-key saucy. If you are having problems with spell cards like Lightning Vortex or being able to be Harpie's Feather Duster, well, Blizzard is easily the solution to all of your problems. Not only does it return the card to the hand, if your opponent decides to use it again, big ol' Negato. Of course, this is for decks that actually can prepare for beating the spell card on the very next turn. Take, for example, if you're an Outlich player, I would not suggest playing this card unless you have a way to beat the Harpie's Feather Duster next turn because you're just delaying the threat. I would really say that this is for combo decks that lose to spell cards like Dark Ruler No More, or maybe even a combo deck that may have a problem with cards like Triple Tactics Talent. This card would be really saucy in that particular situation. Book of Eclipse is not a bad Yu-Gi-Oh! Card. It's not bad, but it's definitely in the, oh no, what are you doing, baby? Category for this particular reason. Book of Moon is, or Book of Lunar Eclipse, it feels like a card that you want to use on your opponent's turn, and then you start to think, do I really want to give my opponent all that advantage? Regardless, if you are using Book of Eclipse, you're flipping all of your opponent's face down monsters. You need to get rid of those monsters right then and right there. And typically the monsters that you want to flip face down, if they are in mass, they have negation. So this is just going to be a feed to the negation. And while it can stop your opponent from initially making the combo, do you really want to give them card advantage in a format where everybody is playing a ton of hand traps? No, 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 no. You're almost simply trading negates for another form of negate. On the flip side, Book of Moon, in its versatility, it's not a bad Yu-Gi-Oh! Card, but it could be better. What's the difference between Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse? Well, you're not obligated to get rid of the card you flip face down when you Book of Moon a player, as they won't be able to draw cards during the end of the turn and then flip their card face up. And Book of Moon is pretty decent for being able to dodge hand traps like Effect Veiler and Infinite Impermanence. Floowandereeze players have been flipping their monsters face down that have been targeted with those cards for almost years. Feels like centuries, even though the deck isn't years old. Call by the Grave, guys. I just said we're in a format where there are tons of hand traps, so this is easily the card that you better be caught with. There's almost zero reasons to be playing or not to be playing Call by the Grave right now, as this card does stop some of the most important hand traps. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is sitting at the pinnacle of hand traps right now. And if you want to know more about how powerful hand traps can be, then I do have a hand trap tier list that I did last week. Go ahead and check that out for all of your hand trap info. Change of Heart just came off the Forbidden list last format, and it's almost fallen to obscurity. It 100% fills in that, oh no, what are you doing? But I'm going to cut Change of Heart some slack and put it in the could be better status. Now, the problem with Change of Heart is fairly simple. It's a card that sucks when you're going first, and it isn't really good unless the monsters that you're taking from your opponent, you can gain some sort of advantage. I definitely think that the players that were saying, Change of Heart coming off the list, Yu-Gi-Oh is broken, they definitely need to get their brains and their eyes checked, as Change of Heart never passed the eye test of being an extremely good Yu-Gi-Oh card. And to be honest, it could probably come to 2 and 3 alongside of Mind Control and wouldn't do that much. Now, there are some decks that definitely gain full advantage of Change of Heart and of cards like Mind Control, but those aren't necessarily relevant inside of the meta, as this card will trade its 1 for a 1 negation in the card. If you're not negating or it hasn't been negated that you're snatching, doesn't really do anything. There's actually a better Yu-Gi-Oh card in this format that does other things alongside of taking your opponent cards. Cosmic Cyclone, I'm going to put Cosmic Cyclone in really good, though it isn't the best way to destroy your opponent's cards. For some reason, I don't have Mystical Space Typhoon here, and ironically, in Yu-Gi-Oh, this card is 20 years old. That is right, this card is 20 years old. Mystical Space Typhoon is 20 years old. I gotta say it like 3 times so I can make sure I'm not tripping. It's 20 years old, and it's still a good card. Now, allow me to explain why. We're in a format where banishing spell and trap cards doesn't really mean much. Now, of course, that actually does mean something against the Outlich matchup, but in any other matchup, it doesn't mean anything. And saying that Outlich isn't the top big dog ultra contender, you can actually go through events, high-level events, without seeing a single Outlich player. But you know what does come up? Time. Time comes up a lot. And then when you get 50 seconds left on the clock and need to destroy your opponent's spell or trap card that has been bothering you, and you can't because Cosmic Cyclone requires 1,000 of your life points, that comes up more often in the Outlich. And that's why I actually think that Mystical Space Typhoon is superior in certain situations than Cosmic Cyclone. And overall, Cosmic Cyclone isn't a bad card. There are just better disruptor cards in the format right now. Crossout Designator is a card that is also fairly good. I think players have figured out Crossout Designator. It is not the huge meta impactful card despite hand traps being prevalent inside of Yu-Gi-Oh! And here's the reason why. In order for Crossout Designator to work, not only do you have to open the Crossout Designator, you also have to open your combo. Then you also have to play the hand trap that your opponent could hand trap you with, and then hope that your opponent is playing the hand trap. Now, granted, odds are if they are hand trapping you or stopping your combo, they are playing the hand traps that you're using for Crossout Designator, but Crossout Designator could just be reserved for better Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's not bad. It's not bad by any stretch. But if your deck literally loses to hand traps that Crossout Designator will stop, odds are your deck isn't as powerful as it should be in this format. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's a weird situation with Crossout Designator where it doesn't make any decks necessarily better, but it doesn't make anything worse. And I'm not going to go ahead and knock you for playing Crossout Designator. It's also really good in formats where there are more mirror matches. That's actually where this card really, really shines. It's actually phenomenal in mirror matches. Moving forward, Dark Ruler No More. This card's pretty saucy, guys. There are so many combo decks. There's Adventure Token, Punk, there's Therion, there's Rocket Dragon Link. So many combo decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! You just slam that Dark Ruler No More on them, negate your opponent's entire board. Now, the only problem with Dark Ruler No More, if the Drytron strategy is playing Magic Key, well, they can use their Magic Key trap card to negate Dark Ruler No More. But hey, if you got it, you got it, I guess. Also, against a Libromancer strategy, they also play another trap card to negate Dark Ruler. But other than that, this card's, it does its job. It's pretty good. It does handle most combo decks. Dimensional Barrier, guys. Dimensional Barrier, oh my gosh. Gosh golly, guys. I could literally pull out the glasses and show you. Where's my glasses? Gosh golly, guys, this is the hand trap you need to play. Oh god. Not only does it stop some of the most powerful decks like Sword Soul and Despia, Dimensional Barrier also stops Drytron from ritual summoning and rogue decks from Exceed summoning into Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. This is hands down a card that, if not in your main deck, it should be in your side deck, brother. But seriously, like, this card is ridiculously overpowered in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. And until Link start making a huge comeback, continue to play this card. Doggo Punisho. I'm gonna make a bold take, guys, because we normally make bold takes. Doggo Punisho has been so power crept, I can literally put it in the, oh no, what are you doing, baby? And like, I don't think anybody should bat an eye here. Allow me to explain. Doggo Punisho requires you to miss your next turn from extra deck summoning. Currently in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! There is not a single deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Outside of Fluundereeze that doesn't need its extra deck. Now I know what you're thinking. Cali, Outledge. Well, Outledge have actually adopted to play the adventure route. They've adopted to play the branded route. So yes, there are a lot of times where they do need their extra deck. And Fluundereeze, while it could play this card, there have been exactly 0 high-topping Fluundereeze builds to play this card. Reason why is because giving up your extra deck is not good at all. So if you're playing a strategy with the Dogmatika package, considering not playing this, especially if you need your extra deck on the following turn, that can completely screw you. But the biggest thing is that the trade-off is that you just get to destroy up to 2 cards on the field. That's not really that good at this point in time in Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, I don't think that this card is terrible. I just don't think it's great right now. Me and Kana go back and forth on this card every single time. We're going to argue to the death. I think that Evenly Match is not a great Yu-Gi-Oh! Card, but the players think that Evenly Match is sauce. Allow me to explain why. The adventure token engine on the rise. This is also really funny. I'm going to say this until the end of time, just in case there's going to be, I'm telling you, there's always somebody every video. I didn't know that. But let me know if you didn't know this. If you activate Evenly Matched and your opponent controls a token, they must banish everything except for the token. Why? Because token monsters cannot be banished face down. They can't banish the token monster face down. They have to get rid of everything else and keep the token as their one card for Evenly Matched. The reason why that's so powerful is because Sword Soul and Adventure are huge into the format. So if you can stop Sword Soul, which I don't suggest making them leave a token on their field, but if you can stop Sword Soul, great. You can evenly match them and literally leave them with nothing. If you can hit the adventure engine, get rid of the Griffin, great, evenly match them, lead them with nothing. This plus Forbidden Droplet is godly. And then even more importantly, Nibiru is actually a really popular card right now. So Nibiru your opponent, and then if they still build the board following up with the evenly match, well, they still have that token. So yeah, this card is ridiculously good in that sense, and it's just a great overall card. I personally don't think it's good against the Despia matchup because smart Despia players will play around it. Forbidden Chalice is also another sauce Yu-Gi-Oh card right now. I love Forbidden Chalice because it interacts with the opponent on both players' phases, and it can activate in the damage step, saying that it can increase attack. That means that this card can stop flip effect monsters, which I know are not being played right now, but I just wanted to mention that. And then could also negate monsters that negate the activation inside of the damage step. Think of any card that says negate the activation of a monster effect and destroy it. Yes, this card can stop it inside of the damage step. So really, really good that Forbidden Chalice actually does that. It's a really versatile card and is a great threat to cards like Token Collector, to Mirror Jade being able to banish your card. It's just overall a really powerful staple, especially if you can't afford Forbidden Drip, because Forbidden Drip is literally a cut above the rest. We need to see more Forbidden Drips in players' main boards and sideboards. I think literally in almost every topping deck, Forbidden Droplet was pretty much included in it because it is the answer to your opponent's board. Now, I am extremely upset that we haven't had a common printing of Forbidden Droplet just yet, but prayers, hopefully we have one soon where more players can get access to this card. Gozen match in the main board. I think that Gozen match in the sideboard's pretty good. And the reason why Gozen match in the sideboard's good is because you would typically play Gozen match in the sideboard in a deck that doesn't play a lot of spells and like back row heavy cards. So your opponent doesn't side in cards like Harpie's Feather Duster against you or Twin Twisters or whatnot. And then you flip the Gozen on them and win. But it's extremely good against most strategies if you are playing inside of the main board and can be quite effective. Harpie's Feather Duster, guys, we're finally at that point, which is crazy. Harpie's Feather Duster has been off the Forbidden list, I want to say, for about 3 years, maybe 4 years. And we are now coming to that time where players are like, yo, we should main board Harpie's Feather Duster. And it's not because there's a lot of back row. People are main boarding Harpie's Feather Duster because of Mystic Mine. Nobody wants to lose to Mystic Mine. It is literally like the biggest middle finger to your win mode. I've seen so many times where a player had a player dead to rights. The other player uses Mystic Mine, and now you're just and you guys are just sitting there and it's nothing. So players are playing Harpie's Feather Duster for that reason. And it also still does trade off 1-for-1 for some of your opponent's back row, allowing you to get rid of their back row before they want to use it, before they want to use it the most optimally. This should be a cold take too. Ice Dragon's Prison is 100% oh no, what are you doing, baby? First of all, we're not even in a format where everyone's playing solo archetypes. Like that's feel like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Just 100%. Dimensional Barrier is trash. Okay, it's not trash. It's just not good right now. Dimensional Barriers, or not Dimensional Barrier, I apologize. Ice Dragon's Prison's last saving grace was to get rid of Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer before they can destroy it, but there's no Phoenix Enforcer around. It's just, overall, I can't even think of a single matchup where Ice Dragon's Prison is like, yo, it's, I guess against Outlich, the cool thing is that you can spell summon Ash Blossom for their graveyard and banish their Golden Lord, but, or you can summon Golden Lord and banish their Golden Lord, and that is a win con, but again, that's not enough for you to be main boarding Ice Dragon's Prison. Lightning Storm is pretty good. The restriction for Lightning Storm is really starting to show right now. You can't control any face-up cards in order to activate it. A lot of times, like against Fluundereese, you want your opponent to use their trap card or use the Fluundereese Dreaming Town or use their Fluundereese map to additionally commit more cards before you blow their whole board up. Preemptively activating a Lightning Storm doesn't solve the problem, as they'll still have the trap and the spell card to be able to deal with. Also, Harpie's Feather Duster deals with a lot of that BS that they're going to do. Mind Control is in the same spot as Change of Heart. These are literally the same card. There's no difference. I know this card says you can't tribute the monster, but we don't tribute over here, okay? So these are literally the exact same Yu-Gi-Oh card. There is no difference. Mystic Mine, I hate to say it, but it's a reason why players are playing cards like Harpie's Feather Duster in the main board. This is actually a really, really powerful check to Despia, mainly because Despia doesn't out Mystic Mine. You just Mystic Mine them and hope that they don't have a Harpie's Feather Duster or back row destruction, and they can't win. That allows you to either gain the resources to be able to break their board, or they deck out. So that's the reason why Harpie's Feather Duster is being played so much. And Mystic Mine is still good at being able to break boards. Just please, if you play Mystic Mine in your deck, the only thing I ask you is that you break their board, destroy the Mystic Mine, and go for game. Don't make it like, oh, we're just gonna sit here. Please don't do that. Don't do that. RAIGEKI is really good for the reason why Lightning Storm isn't really good. Yes, this can check back row like Harpie's Feather Duster, but this can be activated while you control face-up cards, which is actually extremely good against decks like Sword Soul. A lot of times, Sword Soul doesn't play a monster spell trap negate, which is like, yo. Also, Lightning Storm plus Droplet feels like evenly matched plus Droplet, except you can still use your battle phase. Rivalry of the Warlords is also another good card. Again, you got to play the correct decks to be able to use these properly, because I can't think of another deck that's also singular typing. Decks in the meta. Oh, Sword Soul. Duh. Sword Soul is singular typing. Punk Therion Dry. You already know that's not singular typing. Like, there's not a lot of singular typing decks. So this inside of the main board, you can definitely catch an opponent slipping and win out from there. Salesman is also a really good card. There are so many questions like, why pick Salesman? Salesman actually can be activated against cards that you never play. Like, if you activate this card and declare Mirror Jade, I mean, you now don't have to worry about Mirror Jade or a card like Guardian Chimera or whatnot when you use Salesman. That's like big brain. But secondly, your opponent can't interact with it with destruction cards to get rid of it. Unlike Prohibition, this card is really good because it's so versatile against so many decks. Skill Drain feels really mid. I would not suggest, to be honest, I wouldn't suggest mainboarding like a plethora of continuous cards in my deck, just because everybody in the meta is on Harpie's Feather Duster because of Mystic Mine. These decks suffer tremendously. But if you just so happen to be playing a deck that maybe has 3 extra spaces and, you know, could use this anti-meta card, you literally put your opponent on, yo, did you draw the Duster? And sometimes that can secure your win. And Skill Drain is like a big win button against a lot of decks. Solemn J is sauce. Solemn J is the literal sauce right here, guys. Allow me to explain why, because there are so many great trap cards, spell cards, other spell cards that are in this Yu-Gi-Oh card game that just say shoosh shoosh, no, get out of Yu-Gi-Oh. And Solemn Judgment was like, I don't think I will. I think Solemn Judgment is best for combo decks actually right now. Control decks can still 100% use it, but it's best for combo decks because combo decks normally lose to like boom, boom, but like they, as you guys can see, they lose to so many weird cards, and you just say no to that card, and then you can hopefully continue to push forward. Solemn Strike is by no means. This is probably the best could be better card because it's so good at times. But the problem with this is that there's a lot of chain blocking. Florentarius can chain block. Sword Soul can chain block. Despia, of course, you know that deck's chain blocking. Drytron activates so many effects. Sometimes it's really hard to pinpoint what is the effect that they need. So, and on top of that, trap cards, again, if you're not continuously doing something, as you can see, our highest rated trap cards actually like prohibit the opponent from doing something continuously. And this is like a one-time boom activation. Let's try to get this off the field. Can't stop fusion summons like the effect of Branded in Red. So it's a toss-up. And while it can stop the monster summon off Branded in Red if they have Branded Loss, well, I mean, we're not doing anything here. So it's a good card in the correct situation, but right now it's in the could be better. Never thought I'd say Solemn Strike isn't that great and Solemn Judgment is godly. Solemn Judgment or Solemn Warning follows the same trend. This, I do think that Solemn Warning may be a little higher than Solemn Judgment because Warning can stop normal summons, it can stop special summons, it can stop spell effects like Branded in Red and stuff like that, which is really cool. But if that Branded Paradise is face up, you're really not doing anything. And again, it's a one-time activation trap. Those one-time activation traps that just do one thing are not strong enough to keep up right now for the most part. And that's pretty much my analysis on it. Super Polymerization. Super Polymerization could be better as a staple Yu-Gi-Oh card to be played in every deck. It ain't working right now. Unless your deck does not need its extra deck, which I guess you could play Dogmatika Punishment too there, right? You can play both of them. I don't recommend it because it's not necessary right now, especially since Despia players have figured out how to combo past being super polyed. It's not the best or safest investment all of the time. Now, for all of those decks that I thought, I think all of them can play around. There can be only one. Sword Soul obviously can't. Yeah, I think this is in the could be better too. I feel like since there's so many mono decks, I think the only thing that can't play around this is Sword Soul. I mean, they can. It depends. The floodgates have never been amazing against Sword Soul. Obviously, it's not great against Punk Therion. If you flip it face up, you can prevent the Z-Amen and the level 5, what is his name? Deer Note from being summoned to the side of the field. But other than that, doesn't have much interaction. It's good against Rocket Dragon Link. That's pretty good. So like it's iffy. It's 100% iffy. Torrential Tribute is in the, oh no, what are you doing, baby? This card's way too slow right now. It's way too slow. And not a lot of strategies need their monsters. I wish Torrential Tribute was a lot better, but right now, not right now. I would not be mainboarding Torrential Tribute. Triple Tactics Talent easily. I feel like Triple Tactics Talent is one of the better spell cards because, again, we're playing so many hand traps. And it does have the versatility of these cards because sometimes these cards can be really good, as you guys know, snatching your opponent's monster and just attacking with it for game and change of heart circumstance, or using for a link summon in mind control. That can be good sometimes. But this card has the added benefit of allowing you to draw 2 cards or snipe your opponent's hand. It's Pot of Greed, Change of Heart, or Forceful Sentry, which is ridiculously busted in the Yu-Gi-Oh meta. And there are so many times where your opponent wants to activate monster effects in your main phase. Twin Twisters is way better than what players think. I actually think Twin Twisters is a cut above the rest. And the reason why is because Twin Twisters has the versatility to be able to destroy multiple cards. Think they're branded in red and they're branded in lost, right? That's actually really, really good to be able to stop. Think Mystic Mine and an additional card on their field. It has that versatility to be able to hit multiple cards. And the discard, sometimes it really doesn't mean anything. It can hit Fateful, Adventure, and your opponent's other card when they activate things. It's just so many times where Twin Twisters does come in clutch inside of this meta, and you can see that'll reflect some of the top decks that have been played in this format. And that is all that we have for the Staples tier list. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and check out these videos, as these are extremely awesome. I promise you they'll blow your mind. And if you guys want to see Master Duel content, check out Master Duel Cali. He's a stud. He gives you so much awesome content, and I'll catch you on the next one.